Greetings, everybody. This is Robert Sean Kennedy, your history instructor for Summer 2 History 1301, and I'm sending out a video orientation just to help you get familiar with the course so you can start the class kind of running instead of trying to figure things out on the first day. And there'll be a brief orientation exam on Blackboard that you'll need to take just so you're aware of the expectations. No pressure with the orientation exam, but it's just there for your benefit to make sure you understand what's going on. So again, my name's Robert Sean Kennedy. That's what I look like. So if you see me in class, I'm the one who's going to be instructing the course. We'll be meeting in room 3131, I believe it is. It's the collaborative room. It's not a normal looking classroom. You'll see it. It's a classroom that has computer screens, and there's computer stations in there. You'll see me in there, so look for me. We'll be communicating with this Remind app, and I'll include it in the email. Best way to get a hold of me, it's basically a social media site, a secure social media site where we can communicate to each other via the app. And students find it a pretty effective way of getting a hold of me, and I find it a pretty effective way of getting hold of students too. So what you're going to do is you're going to click here and just follow the instructions from here to download the app. You could also access it from your desktop as well. Okay, the first thing you want to do is get the syllabus. Syllabus is right here. Go through the information. Some of the most salient points is there is a required textbook. It's not too expensive. It's not a textbook. It's a novel basically. But you see, you can get as low as $1.75. So I would suggest ordering it now. You can get it for $6.29 if you want a nice fancy hardcover, $15. And I will have a copy in the reference section of the library. One thing you do need to do is you need to download Lockdown software. This is an application that will be downloaded to your desktop, and this is how you'll take exams in this course. So only one exam in this course is in class, the rest will be online. The final exam is in class, and there's 3 exams and that will be on Blackboard, but you have to use the Lockdown browser. And if you're unfamiliar with the Lockdown browser, this is about a 2-minute video that will bring you up to speed on what the Lockdown browser is. There's a list of questions here. These are the questions that will show up in the orientation video, the orientation exam, sorry. So as you're watching this video, just take notes on these questions, and from there, and these questions will be included in the email, but when you're ready to take the exam, you'll take the exam and go from there. Okay, so let's get started in course content. I just want to show you just a couple of things. Class is divided up into weeks: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and finally week 5. So we meet Monday through Thursday, 10 to 12:30. The class goes fast and furious. This course does have a supplemental instructor, so you will benefit from that added resource in this course, so please take advantage of it. If you're unfamiliar with what a supplemental instructor is, it is an instructor who basically will sit into the class and provide extra instruction at a different time other than our class to make sure and to ensure you succeed, going over some of the lectures and concepts and assignments of the course. Okay, so again, class is divided up into weeks. It'll always tell you what the content is and if there's anything due. So basically, we'll start off by reading chapter 1 from a book called A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. The chapter is called Columbus, Indians, and Human Progress, and we'll basically have a class discussion. There are some questions that go along with it that you will prepare for the exam. Let's just go in there so you can see it. So here's the chapter, and here's the first lecture, Lecture 1, Slavery, Race, and Class. Let's first open this up just so you can see it. What you're going to do is you're going to read, and what I would highly suggest is to have these questions handy, and as you are reading, take notes using these questions. Now, Lecture 1, all of the lectures work the same way. The lectures are preparing you for the exams that are going to be on Blackboard. Your first exam expires the end of the second week. It's on the syllabus, which is included in the email I'm sending out. So each essay is preparing you, each lecture is preparing you to write an essay, 5 to 8 paragraphs. Now, before you freak out, these essays aren't very challenging. It's just a matter of preparation. You don't have to do any outside research. All of the information is provided to you right here via what are referred to as learning objectives. So you begin by clicking Learning Objective 1. And you're basically going off the prompt. So the prompt asks you to discuss the background of when, how, and why Jamestown was founded, and be sure to discuss the challenges and successes the early settlers faced during the first few years. Be sure to provide specific examples from the lecture. Right? So all the learning objectives work in that same way. They have a prompt, and then they have text or notes and a video that accompanies it. What you're doing is, no matter what the learning objective is, it'll have a prompt. You are responding to that prompt. Right? So they all work the same way. When you have a response to each of those learning objectives, learning objective 1, 2, 3, to all the prompts that are included in these links, each one of those prompts should elicit 1 to 3 paragraphs. A paragraph, generally speaking, is 5 to 6 sentences. You combine those responses, and that will give you your essay response of 5 to 8 paragraphs. And so when you take the exam, this is what might appear during the exam. You might get this prompt here: discuss the interrelationship between a successful cash crop, cheap labor, and cheap land. How did slavery slowly develop in the British colonies and early United States history? Now, what these links here will provide you, what these prompts here will provide you, is a response to that essay prompt. And so that's how you want to prepare for this. And again, it's online, so as long as you take notes, then the exams are open note. As long as you take notes and prepare, you'll do fine. You also notice that each lecture has a study guide, and the study guides have specific questions that will help you respond to each of the learning objectives. So if you respond to these questions, that will give you the specifics, it'll give you the details, it'll give you the examples necessary to come up with a detailed and thorough response to this particular learning objective. And that all works the same way for each learning objective in the study guides. So all of them work that way. So I'm going to go over here real quick. Week 2, right, just to show you. Right, so you got a lecture here, salutary neglect, lecture 3. You notice they have learning objectives. You notice they have a study guide. There's an essay prompt. Again, the essay prompt is what will show up in the exam. And to make sure you're prepared for that, you want to have a response to all 4 of these learning objectives. And at the end of week 2, as promised, there is an exam. So you'll click here, and you'll click there to take the exam. And you got to make sure that you're opening up in Lockdown Browser. For this class, you don't need to use a webcam. That's just for my internet students. But you do need to open up in Lockdown Browser. All right, I think that's about it. Let me go over the syllabus real quick. Where'd it go? All right, going back to start here, opening up the syllabus. I want to just make sure. Yeah, so do take note of this. Exam 1, 15% of total grade. Exam 2, 20% of total grade. Exam 3, 25% of total grade. So again, the exams consist, as explained here, of the lecture exercise. So basically, let's just read this. These exercises, the exams, consist of lecture essays that require students to prepare a 5 to 8 paragraph essay by combining the learning objective prompts to do so. So that's what I explained when I was showing you lecture 1. Students are expected to prepare for the lecture essays prior to each exam as scheduled. Exams will be completed online via Blackboard. Each exam will construct the following. So this is just indicating exam 1 will have 2 lecture essays randomly selected from weeks 1 to 2. And so by the time we're there, there'll be 3 lecture essays that you'll be preparing for. Exam 2, we'll have 3 lecture essays from weeks 1 to 4. And finally, we get to 6 lecture essays from weeks 5. And this one will be divided up into 2 parts. And note here, this is something very, very important. Want to use the exams as an opportunity to learn. So if you earn a higher grade on an exam than a previous taken one, or do not take the exam, the higher score will be applied to the lower previous exam minus 5%. So what is being said there? Let's say exam 1, you take it and you earn a 50%. So you come to me, you come talk to me, or you go to your SI instructor and you talk and you ask what you can do different. You find out what you can do different for preparing for these lecture essays. You do that, and exam 2, you do very well. You earn a 95%. So that score will be applied to exam 1 minus 5%. So 95% for exam 2. The 50% is raised to a 90%. So just be aware of that aspect of the class. Class participation consists of attendance, assigned work in class, and constructive contributions to our class. And down here, very important, the schedule. You'll do fine in this class if you keep up with the schedule. It's just a matter of preparing as you go, not putting things off, asking questions when you need to ask. But really do keep this close at hand and make sure you just stick with the prescribed schedule here. We do have an in-class final exam, and it is based on this book right here, Celia Slave. I'm not going to go over it in this video. We'll go over it in class, maybe the second day after you get a chance of reading it. But if you want to take a look at it right now, this is included in the email in the hyperlink. Be an in-class essay based on this book and based on these 3 components of this essay prompt. So we'll talk more about that in class when we meet up next week. But do email me if you have any questions. Do sign up for Remind Now. You can ask me questions there and test it out, see how it works. Other than that, I look forward to hanging out with all you guys. It'll be a fun summer session. You'll find the classroom that we'll be working in pretty interesting. I haven't worked in them too much, so we'll see how it goes. It should be quite a lot of fun this semester, though. Take care. Bye-bye.